Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel once again. It's Damilola of Dami's Little Corner, and today I am super duper excited because today is the World Mental Health Day 2023. It's always marked on the 10th of October every year, so definitely if there's a chance for me to talk about mental health and create awareness about mental health, definitely I'll be excited about that. So in this video, I'll be talking about your rights as regards to your mental health, because the theme for this year is mental health is a basic human right. So I will be talking about what are your rights as someone who has a mental illness, or someone who has a family or a friend who has mental illness, or even if you just care about your mental health, then this is the video for you. As I said earlier, the World Mental Health Day is always marked on the 10th of October, which is today. You can tell I am super duper excited. So I will be telling you 7 things about your rights as regards to your mental health, and I hope this video would enlighten you and it will be helpful to you. So let's jump right into it. The very first thing I'll be mentioning is that mental health is a basic human right. So no matter who you are, what your level of education, your socioeconomic status, your religion, your gender, your race, you are entitled to the highest attainable quality of mental health. So no matter who you are, wherever you are in the world, you're supposed to have the highest attainable quality of mental health that you can get. Number 2 is that you have the right to be protected from anything that puts your mental health at risk. Anything that puts you at risk of mental illness. And also you have the right to available, acceptable, accessible quality of mental health care in the community or wherever you find yourself. So you are entitled to mental health care and support. That's number 2. Number 3 is that as much as you have the right to mental health care, people who have mental illnesses or who suffer from mental health conditions also have the right to access good quality of care for their physical health. When I talk about physical health, I talk about things that affect the body and not the mind, like high blood pressure, high blood sugar, asthma, anything like that that affects the body. So sometimes it's easy to just say, oh, this person has a mental illness, and maybe the person is complaining about something and you're not taking the person seriously because the person has a mental illness. We see that a lot in healthcare settings. So the third thing I'm pointing out is the fact that no matter your mental health status, you're entitled to physical health care, quality physical health care. The point I'll be mentioning is that you have a right to liberty, independence, and inclusion in the community. So it's sometimes people who have mental illnesses, you see things like that being chained in the corner, they're being locked up in the house, they're not allowed to have their independence. People consider them as dangerous people, which most times isn't the case. People who have mental illnesses, people who have mental health conditions have the same right to independence as any other person who doesn't have that illness, who doesn't have that condition. So that's the fourth thing I'll be mentioning. You have a right to your independence, to inclusion in the community. You should be able to access things within your community. You should be able to move around without fear. You shouldn't be chained or caged in a place. That shouldn't be the case. I'll be moving on to the 5th thing I'll be talking about as regards to your rights, as regards to your mental health, and that is the fact that you have a right to inclusion in decision making about your health. So it's commonplace that people who have mental illnesses, you just somewhat think that they can't make their own decisions, which is not always true. Yeah, there are some cases where decisions may have to be made for that person because they are just so unwell and they cannot really understand why they have to make some decisions, like maybe if they have to get treated now. Yeah, they just can't understand why they have to get treated. But most times, people who have mental health conditions are actually able to make their own decisions. They're able to say, oh, this is what I want to wear today, this is what I want to eat today. They're even able to make decisions that are even considered more technical or complex than that. So please, as much as possible, you have that right and you should demand for it. You have the right to be included in decision making. People sometimes just face the carer and talk to the carer without including the person who has the illness. So as much as possible, you are to be carried along. If you're not carried along as regards your care, if you are not allowed to make decisions about your care, please speak up. It's your right. So I've been mentioning the 6th point now, and the 6th point, guys. 6th point about your rights, as regards your mental health, and that is the fact that you have a right to access other basic human rights, like things like education, things like social support, things like food, things like shelter. You have an absolute right to be able to access those. So imagine someone being stopped from accessing food. That's just ridiculous because they have a mental health condition, or they don't have a place to live because they're suffering from a mental health condition, or they cannot go to school like other people can just because they have a mental health condition. You have a right to be able to access basic human needs, other basic rights, just like any other person. So the last but not the least point, that's the 7th point, is that you have a right to live without discrimination. Like, people are stigmatized, people are discriminated against in their place of work, in the school. You have a right to go to school without discrimination on the basis of your mental health condition. You have a right to go to your workplace and be open about your mental health condition. Oh, I have anxiety, oh, I have depression, without someone just labeling you or stigmatizing against you. You have that right, and you should talk about it, enforce it if it's been taken lightly. You have that right to work in a place that you're not discriminated against, to school in a place that you're not discriminated against or stigmatized against. I hope these points, very few points of mine, have been enlightening for you, and you've been able to know more about your rights with regards to your mental health. With this knowledge that you've now gained, you're able to stand up for your rights anywhere. You're able to stand up for the rights of your family and friends anywhere that you may find yourself. Thank you. Have a lovely day and see you next time. Bye.